Hello, what's the crack? What's the story? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out kidnapping this SAS soldiers was a bad idea. I'm guessing SAS, that's the UK army. Not too sure what they are, but I think they're the UK army. I think so. Let's go.
When the soldiers of the British Tier 1 SAS unit stared at their television screens in Iraq in 2005, they could not believe their eyes. The footage on local news channels showed two of their comrades, badly battered, tied to a chair, their faces exposed for all the world to see. Allegedly, the two elite warriors had murdered a policeman and were now to be brought before an Iraqi court, with the worst probably yet to come. For the men of the SAS, it was clear. No matter what happened in the coming hours, they would not leave their brothers to the mercy of the enemy under any circumstances. A plan to free the hostages was hatched. However, the British government suddenly seemed not to care about the lives of their own soldiers anymore, and the whole rescue mission was on a knife's edge. What followed next was a struggle between the SAS soldiers fighting for the lives of their comrades and the political leadership, who were completely oblivious to the situation on the ground. It all began on September 19, 2005, when the operators Campbell and Griffiths were conducting an undercover mission in the Iraqi city of Basra. Disguised in civilian clothes, they drove around the country in an inconspicuous vehicle to shadow a corrupt police chief who had connections to terrorist organizations. This was not just any mission, but an official cooperation with the famous British intelligence service MI6. After the SAS soldiers had gathered enough information and were about to leave the city, they ran into an Iraqi checkpoint. Only a few days earlier, British soldiers had already arrested another police mastermind, and the atmosphere between the two parties was correspondingly tense. To prevent the situation from escalating even further, the highly trained soldiers initially tried to talk their way out of it. But when the Iraqi police officers refused to calm down, and suddenly even tried to drag them out of their vehicle, the operators wouldn't take it anymore. They opened fire, wounding two of the attackers.
Why would you, in my opinion, like you're in their country, like the chance of you escape, and the fact that they're in civilian clothing as well, like I'd rather just be arrested and see what happens, because I know my country probably come for me easily. It's gonna be easier than me shooting the policeman. Let me know what you guys think.
Attackers and stepped on the gas. A wild chase through half the city ensued until the soldiers realized that they could never get away in their poorly motorized undercover car. Once again, they tried to resolve the situation diplomatically, laying down their weapons and getting out of their vehicle. However, the Iraqis beat up the soldiers and dragged them to a prison in Basra, where they forwarded their pictures to a news agency. When the soldiers from the 22nd SAS Regiment in Baghdad saw the footage of their comrades, they immediately moved to Basra and prepared for an imminent hostage rescue. Campbell and Griffiths, meanwhile, took advantage of their excellent training, which had prepared them for situations like these. They gave the kidnappers just enough information to keep them alive, but didn't reveal major secrets. Soon their comrades would burst through the door, kill all hostage takers, and free them. Or at least that's what they thought. Because while the captured SAS soldiers were fighting for their lives, their commanders weren't reaching anyone to authorize the rescue mission.
Wow.
The order was to...
See, that's what pisses me off when it comes to this, yeah. You're risking your life every single day. Your family are back home, literally waiting for you to come back home because they know you're fighting for your country. And what the least your country could do for you is when you get in trouble, try to help you. It's when they seem not to care, that's what annoys me when it comes to this. Oh no, because you've given your life to your country and you expect, come on, try.
To simply do nothing so as not to escalate the situation further. Any political entanglements were more important to the superiors than the lives of two British soldiers. The leaders of the SAS did not give up, but even the general in charge in England didn't answer his cell phone. And soon the soldiers in Iraq were joking that he had switched it off because he was playing golf. In the meantime, the American forces had deployed a surveillance drone over the prison and even offered a squadron of their own Delta Force soldiers to carry out the hostage rescue.
You know, the Americans don't mess up. The Americans don't mess up. I feel like it was the Americans that did this. It was the Americans that were kidnapped. I don't think it would have lasted as long. I'm not sure how long it lasted, but I feel like they would know not to mess with the Americans. They know, just you've seen what they could do. They're crazy, man. Absolutely crazy.
The British appreciated their allies' gesture, but wanted to get their guys out themselves. After all, it was not due to the SAS's lack of motivation or willingness, but simply to indecisive leadership that a rescue mission had not yet been initiated. The then Colonel John Lorimer, commander of the 12th Mechanized Brigade and former paratrooper, finally took the initiative despite the lack of command and sent his men to the prison. The tanks made their way through the narrow streets of Basra and set up a security perimeter around the complex, but initially had no permission to storm the buildings. After Campbell and Griffiths were portrayed on television as enemy spies, thousands of people gathered around the police station and tried to break through the British perimeter. Molotov cocktails hailed down on the tanks and their crews, who were completely at a loss, without clear orders. Occasionally, there were even exchanges of fire. As a last attempt to resolve the matter diplomatically, the British sent 2 officers to the prison, but they were immediately captured as well. The situation continued to escalate, and the SAS soldiers had to watch from a distance as the window for a hostage rescue closed more and more. A stroke of luck would still give them a chance, and one chance was all the highly trained men needed to save their comrades. In fact, the chaos outside the prison gates had become too hot even for the hostage takers, and so the corrupt policemen decided to hand Campbell and Griffiths over to Iraqi militia. Aware that drones were overhead, they put dishdashes on the elite soldiers, long Arab shirts that made them indistinguishable from civilians from the air. The lone British Sea King helicopter circling over the prison and relaying the situation on the ground to headquarters could have easily missed the hostage handover. But something made the crew take a closer look at the small cluster of people at the edge of the prison. When it became clear that the prisoners were just being loaded into a vehicle, the SAS was back on the scene. While the helicopter relayed every movement of the hostages and their captors, the special forces tailored their plan to free them. The militia placed Campbell and Griffiths in a nearby hideout, and for the British soldiers, the time to attack had finally come. The tanks in front of the police station broke through the prison walls, rolled over vehicles, and allowed the infantrymen to successfully free the captured British officers. One of the tank drivers later commented that it was the best day of his life. Meanwhile, the SAS soldiers raced toward the militia safe house, which fled in the face of the fearless warriors, leaving their hostages behind. Simultaneously, the operators blasted their way through the doors and windows of the hideout, cleared the building, and freed their comrades without encountering any resistance. The relief and joy on both sides was enormous, but from a political perspective, the incident was far from over. As it turned out, the SAS had acted independently, and the order to attack was only meant for the forces outside the prison. The elite warriors had simply not seen fit to gamble with the lives of their comrades any longer, and had made the decision to attack on their own.
Well done.
According to some sources, there were even indications that the hostages were about to be executed, and the soldiers had saved their brothers from certain death. After everything had cooled down, the British leadership subsequently authorized the hostage rescue. However, many SAS soldiers suspect that this only happened because the rescue mission was a success. Any complications would have likely left them at the mercy of the press and military courts. However, the operators had tuned all of this out at the time of the raid because neither the end of their careers nor the possibility of being in the dock could deter them from rescuing their comrades. A brotherhood that no one else could ever.
I love this channel. Literally, the name of this channel is Brothers in Arms. It just says out because these guys, they spend the whole day together. They spend weeks together. They know each other's wives, brothers, parents. You can't just leave your brother out there, man. Nah. While all this, the general is like, oh, playing golf, thinking you can't play with people's lives, man. Fair play to them that they went in. They saved their lives. They absolutely saved their lives.
Understand. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. We have a lot of fun.
I was sick, literally. Great channel. I'm gonna put the link down below if you want to check out the channel. I love that channel. Beautiful channel. If you want to see more, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, recommend what to watch. Check out the Patreon, check out the membership, check out the vlog channel. New vlogger. I went to Santorini. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.